What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to do a lake breakdown overview for West Point Lake, Georgia. This one was pretty big, 525 miles of shoreline, so it took me a little while to do, and we split it up into two different sections. I'll talk to you guys about that once we move over to the Google Earth side. We have the north and east section, and then the south and west section to talk about. So giant lake, all kinds of good stuff. Found brush piles, found hard spots, good rocky areas, tons of offshore spots, just all kinds of goodness to go over with you guys tonight. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First off, I was trying to find a fishing page for this lake and I can't really find anything too great. So we're going to start here with the Army Corps of Engineers and just kind of give you a few highlights here. We'll go through this first paragraph and then we're going to jump over to Google Earth and we're going to take a look at the lake. So fishing is one of the most popular activities on West Point Lake. A dozen creeks and more than 40 square miles of lake provide a wide variety of fishing spots for thousands of anglers who flock to the lake. I will say there were so many creeks and ditches and little creeks that came in that created ditches that maybe not even be named creeks, but tons of that stuff, tons of flowing water coming into this lake. It says West Point Lake has an abundance of bass, catfish, crappie, bream, as well as many other fish species. Bank fishing is excellent around the lake, and there are several public fishing piers at Hardley Creek Park, Rocky Point Park, and McGee Bridge Park. All the piers provide access for persons with disabilities, and preteens and visitors with disabilities can also fish in a pond at Hardley Creek Park. Might have to go see if we can see that on Google Earth if I remember it. There are many fishing structures throughout West Point Lake. The structures are maintained by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and their partners and are marked with buoys that have a graphic at the right of the word with a graphic with the right of the words fish attractor. On the right-hand side of this page, you'll find links to the list of the maps of fish attractors, blah, 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 blah. Good news is I've gone out and they've supplied all the GPS coordinates for all these attractors. So I've imported that into our card along with all the stuff that we found and the offshore stuff to create the ultimate lake breakdown for West Point Lake. So without further ado, let's go look at it. All right, now we've switched over and we're gonna take a look at West Point Lake in Google Earth. But real quick, just to let you guys know, out on the website for West Point Lake, we have this thing broken into two different sections. So I'm gonna zoom in here and kind of show you where the break point is. So I believe, I can't remember the highway, I think it was 19. We're gonna find out here in just a second. Or sorry, 109, I forgot the 0. So Highway 109, I know the lake crosses it twice, but 109 on the east side and north, that's what I'm considering West Point North or West Point Northeast. So when you go out on the website, you'll see north and south. That's gonna be the north side. The south side is gonna be anything south of 109 right there and west. So it actually goes to the north side of 109 on this side. I didn't figure you wanted me to make the break point there, and then in order to use if you just bought the north side, you'd had to go all the way around this point just to get to more stuff. So I included it on this side and left it off on the right side. So you can see this lake has a ton of stuff for us to cover. So let's start up here in the north. And what we're gonna do is basically, I'm not gonna mess with the contours or the imagery on this lake because I have to admit it was a big challenge for the north side and the south side and like east and west. When I was breaking it down, it got pretty crazy because sometimes the image would be really good and the water would be drawn down and then you'd hit a section of the lake and it would go back to being like full pool and you would lose your total imagery. So it was really tough. I had to bounce back around a bunch, back and forth. So I don't want to do that to you guys in the video. So just trust me, if I say something's there and I've marked it, I could see it when the water was down. We might not be able to see it now, like this roadbed. You might not be able to see it now, but trust me, I could see it when the water was down. You can kind of see the remnants of it there. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at this north side. So again, it's anything north of Highway 109, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna deselect a bunch of this stuff. And we're gonna start with the fish attractors. There are a ton of fish attractors on this lake. There's some of these, if you click them, there's more than one fish attractor in them. I don't know which one it is, I'd have to figure out, but there are a ton of fish attractors on this lake. Look at all of them. They're everywhere and they're all here. I've imported them all in so you have all the fish attractors ready to roll. If you don't believe in fish attractors, man, you're missing out. I'm telling you, these fish attractors are really, really great places to find fish. They attract bait fish, which obviously if you've got bait fish there, you're gonna have crappie, you're gonna have bass, you're gonna have the stuff that we're looking for. So definitely take advantage of these fish attractors that were put out there. Next up, we've got channels, ditches, and drains. Now, when you're looking at the map and you see these channels that are up here, it's gonna be any of these tracks. So what I did was when the water was down, if I could tell that there was something, you know, that was carved out into, if there was a channel basically, or a ditch that was carved out into the earth and I was able to see it, I marked that track. So for example, I could tell there was a creek back here and I could see the channels. So I marked the channels for you guys. Now, some people are gonna say, well, what difference does that make? Well, if you're really good at fishing creek channel swings or just fishing creek channels, I saw this swing here and it caught my attention. You're gonna know that anywhere those bends are, those are really key places, but finding those bends can be a trick. But if you have this track, you're gonna know exactly where that bend is. Like right here, I know exactly where that bend is. There's no doubt in my mind where that bend is. There's another one right there. There's another one over here. So it's really easy to pick that out. The other thing too is that you always wanna go where there's running water, right? If it just rained, you're gonna wanna go to these places where these creeks are because that's bringing in a lot of oxygen into the lake and it's really gonna help out your fishing for sure. So next up, we've got cover and structure. Now there's a ton of it. There's a ton of laydowns that are here. Now I've always called them laydowns. I've always heard other people call them blowdowns as well. So whatever you call them, I've referred to them as laydowns. But I think the key thing on this lake, obviously if you want to do crappie fishing, laydowns are key and you got a ton of them to fish here. But if you're bass fishing, laydowns are great as well, right? But you don't really, unless you can find a whole bunch of them together, they're not really something that you go target specifically. I guess you do sometimes, but it's not an all the time thing. So laydowns can almost be almost a disruption when you look at the map. You're like, I don't really want to know where the laydowns are. I want to know where some of this other stuff is. So let's talk about that. So we've got all these laydowns. I'm not going to go show you guys where all the laydowns, that take me forever to do, but I do want to talk to you guys about a couple things. One, we've got a sunken boat. It's like, you want to go see that boat? Let's go see the boat. The sunken boat way back in here. You can see the imagery. It's just getting all crazy, but there's your little boat. There's a sunken boat back here in this flat. So if you're wondering where that's at, you want to go see it on imagery, you can get it right here. It's just, I guess, just west and south of Highway 27. So there's a boat for you. But what I wanted to show you guys was the hard spots. So if we go here and let's just unselect all this. And let's just go pick a couple of these hard spots. So you guys have probably heard me talk about these on other videos if you've ever watched any of my other lake breakdowns, but these hard spots are key areas when you're on the lake. If you can find these hard spots, they can really produce for you because they're a harder area. Typically there's a transition that's coming over to them and the bass just love to set up on them and bait fish love to set up on them as well. So if you can find these hard spots, and there's a lot of them throughout this lake, I can't select all of these at one time, but I'll put them back on there. You'll start seeing them. You can see they're scattered throughout this lake. That's a great pattern to run. So take advantage of those hard spots for sure because they can be really good. And then also there's a lot of brush, a ton of brush that we found on this lake. In fact, there was one little area that I think I even made a post on about how much brush was around this particular dock. But here's one for you right here. I'm gonna come back here. I think you guys saw where I was. I kind of came up 109. I came over here. This guy's going to kill me, whoever lives in this dock. I'm sorry, bro. Just satellite imagery. Let me know it was there. So we're going to pull in. Look at this. I mean, that's juicy. If you're a crappie fisherman, booyah. If you're a bass fisherman, booyah. So you're totally on this. You got all the brush piles that I could find when the water was down. I've got them all marked. So they're marked throughout this lake. But that was one of my favorite ones that I found. And then I think it was right here was another really cool area. So you come back in here. Let me go back here. Let's see what this is right here. So you know we're at Highland Marina. So you can come back in here at Highland Marina. You're gonna cut back down here. And it's not, there's only, well, I guess there's a couple docks here, but you're not like right up against people's docks. But check out all the brush piles someone has put here. So that's actually a brush pile there, but wasn't sure to mark it. I didn't want to mark every single one of these because then you'd be like, man, this guy's overloading me with waypoints. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brush piles right there. Another one here, 6, 7, 8, that may be 1, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. think you're gonna find some fish there. There's another one there, 14, that's a possible one too. So about 15 different brush piles right there in that area. So some really good stuff, but we've got it all marked for you, so it makes it super, super easy to find it. And if you're using the Simplistic Fishing mobile app, you could even go in there and just filter by just brush and just see where the brush piles are. So some pretty cool stuff. But that is all the cover and structure on the north side. Then we've got the offshore stuff. We're gonna talk about that. We'll switch over to the mobile app and I'll show you guys that, because it really is not gonna make any sense right now. If I double click that, it's going to take us to a different year, the year that I imported in, which would have been just recently, 2025, and it's going to show us offshore spots, but they're not going to make any sense because they're all just going to be, I don't know why this is not clicking in here. They're all just going to show up on the image here and just look like they're out in the middle of the lake. They're not going to make any sense, but when I switch over to the contours, they will definitely make sense for you. Then we've got ramps and slabs. Now, if you watched any of my lake breakdown videos before, getting on that ramp pattern can be pretty good at times, especially for me. It's like a late spring thing. For some reason, they love to get on these ramps. Now, a lot of your ramps are like big, you know, main ramps. They're gonna be hard to fish, but if you can find some of these that don't get used that much, definitely take advantage of that. Those concrete ramps, they bring in a bunch of those microfish, and then of course microfish bring in bait fish, and bait fish bring in other fish, and then eventually the bass get there and eat everybody. So take advantage of those ramps and slabs. We've also got roads. There were a few roads here that we were able to see through the contour imaging, or not through the contour imaging, but through the satellite imaging when the lake was down. So you've got some pretty good road beds that are through here. Let's just look at a couple of them here. Here's one right here off this point. This one looks really good. That's the one I pointed out earlier. And then you've got another one that's back in there. You've got a really good road bed that comes here. This might even go all the way across the lake. We'll have to look at the contour imaging to see. And then I thought there was one more that was up here too. Yeah, there's another good one right here. You can see the old remnants of the road. And I'm sure there's something juicy somewhere upon that little area. And then last but not least, we've got the rock. So you've got all the different little rocky areas. Most of this stuff is just gonna be like rock along the shoreline, or just random little rock areas. I didn't find too much rock, or if I found it way out and it was a rocky spot, I marked it as a hard spot. So most of this rock that you're gonna see is gonna be closer towards the bank, you know, shallow cranking, stuff like that, that kind of rocky fishing. Now, let's go over real quick before we jump over the contours, and let's take a look at the south side, because the south side's massive. You can see here it's got a lot. We're gonna do kind of the same thing, but I'll stay pretty quick on this. We've got the attractors. So there's even more attractors on the south side. You can see, I can't remember how many there were, but there were over 100 something attractors in here. There were a ton. So you've got a ton of attractors here, and you can see the imaging, even on 2025, is just, it's not right. It looks funny. Let's see if I can get you guys a better image here so it doesn't make you sick looking at it. Then we've got channels and ditches, which we talked about, right? That's going to be all these tracks that are back there. Now there's a lot of ditches on this side too. So I was saying that all these little creeks that come in, and they've got all these little ditches that they create. And those can be really good spots to find fish. Here's got a like little creek channel, but then you got another ditch coming over here and another ditch. These ditches were everywhere, and you could see them really, really well because the water was way down. So I could really tell exactly where everything was. So I've marked all those ditches, and of course the channels. When I could actually see the channel, I would mark the channel itself. So some good stuff that's over there. Now you've got cover and structure. That's going to be your hard spots, right? You've got some trees that are out here off these point. That looks really good. There's some more brush that's back in here. Nice little hard spot that's right there. Brush, some laydowns. Let's see. Let's go find one of those hard spots for you, because I know there's some back in here. Some more brush back in there. There's a hard spot. I called it a hot spot. I'll have to fix that. Those are actually hard spots. But here's a hard spot for you right here. So it's kind of hard to tell here right on the imaging, but if I move the dates around, you'll be able to tell that this spot right here is a lot harder than everything else around it. It has a different texture to it. Where I put hot spot here, it's hard to tell in this image, but if I change it to a different image, if I could get it there without breaking this thing, you'll be able to tell why those are hard spots. Even though it says hot spot, it's supposed to say hard spot, so I'll have to fix that. All right, so see, I told you it's already messing everything up. All right, so let's back off that. Can't even get it to show you guys what I wanted to show you, but just trust me, these hard spots are out there. you got to take advantage of them for sure. All right, next up we got the ramps and slabs. Those are going to be all the different ramps and slabs that are down here. Don't need to repeat myself, go fish them, right? Especially late spring, they can be really good places to fish. We've also got road beds, and there's several different road beds on this lake. You can see here, we've got some really good ones over here. This could be a really good place to fish. Nice little road bed going through there. And you can kind of follow that one up, and you can see must be a road bed here. I didn't see the remnants on this side, but I can see it on that side. And anywhere I saw any other road beds, I marked them, and there were several of them, right? You can see them all throughout the lake here. Several different road beds to go fish. Take advantage of those road beds. Getting out there with crankbaits and wobbleheads and Carolina rigs, those are the things you want to use on those road beds. They can be very, very effective, especially on a lake like this where there's not necessarily rock everywhere. You know, you'll go down the bank line for quite a while before you find rock. Well, those road beds are debris and rock, and those fish are going to be attracted to it for sure. All right, then we've got the rocky areas, so we've marked all the rock. Like I said, most of the rock we found here was shallow, shallow rock, riprap, stuff like that. But every once in a while, you'd find some rock that was a little bit further out, and those are the spots you want to take a look at. Like right here, we're looking at a little saddle that's between this island, and there's a little bit of rock right there. That could be a really, really good spot to go check out. So look for spots like that where that rock's maybe a little bit further away from the bank line, and those are going to be the spots that you want to take a look at. Of course, we've got those hard spots too that I've marked as well. So it's going to be kind of a mix between the rock and the hard spots, but most of the hard spots are out off the points a little bit further off, so you should be able to see those. Plus you'll be able to see because you'll have them all marked at the same time. And then we've got the offshore spots, which I talked about. We're going to go over right now. We're going to switch over to the Simplistic Fishing mobile app, and we're going to look at these offshore spots, show you a couple of them, talk about what we marked, and then we'll wrap up the video. So let's go. Okay, so I've switched over now to the Simplistic Fishing mobile app, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the contours using the mobile app to look at some of these offshore spots and hopefully pick you guys out a couple good spots here. So let's go up here to the hamburger menu first. I'm going to click on contours. That's going to load in the contours from the lake. Now we partnered with Navionics or with Garmin to provide these contour lines, so super excited about that. We don't have it out there for the Android side yet, but we will soon, but it's definitely out there for the iOS side. So let's take a look at this north side. And I also want to come up here to the settings, and we're going to go over here to the filter waypoints, and we're just going to look at just offshore. That's all we want to look at. Just show me offshore. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see any attractors. I don't want to see any rock. I just want to see offshore goodness. All right, so let's start up here at the top. Where's Highway 109? Highway 109 is right there. So let's pick out a few here. A couple that really stand out to me, obviously right in here where you see this little pinch point. There's a bridge there as well, but a nice little point there, the nice little shelf. I like that. I like this little point. Obviously anywhere around the bridges, that can be good too. There were a couple other spots up here. This nice long extended point that comes out, both of these points, the one on the top and the one on the bottom. This one right here in the middle, this one looks good. And then this one right here, we'll zoom in. This one looks good too. See these nice little flat tops? That's what you're looking for, especially in the fall. If you can find those really long ones that come out, those can be really good. Here's another good one right here as well. So you could check that one out. And then we've got all kinds of other things marked as well. Sorry, my phone's going slow here, but you can see we've marked the points, we've marked the humps, we've marked the swings. There's another really good point right there you could check out. And we've done this throughout the lake. Now, I can't say that I've marked every single offshore hotspot in this lake because there were a bunch, but hopefully this will increase your percentages when you're out there and you can start to filter these down and find the ones that you really like. And two, if you're wanting to pattern fish, you can easily just come in here and say, you know what, let's mark all these and let's make them a favorite. And then as I'm going through these, I can take them off of favorites, or I can just go into my map up here to the right. And I could say, you know what, I just want to see my favorites. That's all I want to see. So just show me my favorite waypoints and then don't filter anything out. And then that's just going to show me just the ones that I favorited. So all kinds of cool stuff you can do there. I'm going to clear those out so we don't have those on there. And that is really the north side for you really quick. Let's go take a look at the south side. Of course, I got to go turn those contours or those filters back on to get our offshore stuff on there. So our offshore stuff's back. Now let's go out. That was the entire north side right there. See, so you guys can see everything. Just a quick scrolling. Ooh, some more juice right there. Look at that, guys. All right, I'm getting all disturbed. Let's move over here to the south side. So let's go down here, down closer towards the dam, and see what else we can find down here. I really like these humps that are out here. So this one right here, I like this one out here as well. Just some really good looking stuff. And then you get further out here, more off this main lake area, and you've got all kinds of good humps, little points, nice little area right here to the left. You've got this nice little hump that's out here. It's 6 foot on top. So all kinds of good stuff going right there out. I mean, pretty much out in the middle of the lake. As you come up here, you've got some really good points as well that you can see. Some good areas around those islands, some good saddles, all kinds of good stuff. Nice points that are out here on the main lake as well. And then I wanted to pick one more spot for you because I really liked it. It's one of those spots that for whatever reason, it just jumped out at me when I was breaking on the lake, and I was like, you know, if I was going to look to try to find some fish, I would more than likely go hit up this area. I'm trying to find it really quick, guys. I'm about ready to give up on it because it was in the back of one of these little coves, and it was just this nice, beautiful point. Maybe this is it right here. I like it right here, right? See where you can tell where the creek channel comes down. And you've got a nice little pinch point there, but really between those two little offshore spots, you've got a point that comes way down, and then you've got another point where it's swinging right against it. This area right in here could be a very productive area. I'm going to click on the offshore spot that's up top and give you a location. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up with that because I can't obviously go through all the offshore spots. But if you guys want them, you can go out to our website like we've been talking about. You can pick up your SD card for West Point Lake for either the north side or the south side. Unfortunately, you got to be careful when you load these into your graphs. If you try to load both of them, it may overload your graphs. So you kind of have to pick which one you want. Good news is we've got the Simplistic Fishing app where you can load all the waypoints in there at one time. Plus you can come in here and you can click on these filters, right? And filter by anything you want. So if I just wanted to look at the hard spots on this lake, it's way easier to do it with the app because I can just click hard spots and bam, there's all my hard spots right there, and I can just travel through them and knock them off one by one. So if you want that, you got to go out to the App Store or Google Play, download the app. And you're on your way. You can either do the $19.99 subscription. That gives you full access to everything in the region. That's hundreds of lakes, tons of lakes out there in Georgia. Or if you just want West Point and that's the only lake you fish, you can sign up for $9.99, which gives you 30-day access to the lake, and you can continue doing that monthly until you don't want it anymore. So all kinds of different ways to do it. Go check it out. And until next time, guys, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.